Okay, this is Mount Etna from July 2024. Spectacular eruption unfolds. I'm not sure what it's doing right now, but as I say, the Earth is warming up, and as these things get capped off inside, they get quite explosive. Alright, here's Mount St. Helens. It hasn't been this active since it last erupted. This was 2023, November, almost 2024. So that's a year and a half or so ago. One of the most dangerous volcanoes in the U.S. appears to be rumbling. They all are rumbling everywhere in the world. Alright, this is Mount Spur. It's just going to pop any minute now. It's 21 hours ago, 20 hours ago, 21 hours ago, 2 days ago, a day ago. These are all about Mount Spur ready to go off. And I was looking at all these different, as much video as I could get and as much information as I could get. And it's changing all kinds of different colors. They do. They go from green to gray to yellow and all inside there, which means chemistry is being pushed into there. Now, I haven't really fully understood what the different chemicals are that make these different colors. But I do know they are moving. And I will show you where they originate from. We're going to go to the map. We're going to be able to, on the Google Earth, we're going to be able to see them. They're not hard to see. So let's get started. We're going to start with Mount Spur because that's the one that is ready to pop any minute now. Santorini's ready to go too. But I think they're all becoming quite active. And there's a lot of them. Okay, here it is right here. Does rotting meat give off methane gases? Yes, rotting or decomposing organic matter, such as food, meat, and so forth, or plant material does produce methane gases. If it's compacted under something that really confines those gases, it'll explode. It's called spontaneous combustion. Anytime you turn something solid into a gas, it gets pressurized. And it depends on how confined it is. That will just cause more and more and more heat, and then all of a sudden it goes spontaneous combustion. That's basically what's happening in these volcanoes. This organic matter, which is inside these creatures' bodies, I don't care what anybody says, that's what it is. And I'm going to show you right now, it can't be denied. So all you can do is walk around and lie about things and just hide from the truth, or at least examine it. That's what I'm going to do. See, the breakdown of this organic matter leads to CH4, which is hydrocarbons. And that's what they find on all these comets and asteroids. All that, they got hydrocarbons coming out of their ears because they are biology. Everything is biology. All right, let's just get a general overlay of the land. Put on your Mudfossil eyes. What do you see? Well, you see kind of an abrupt transition here. And then you see all these different colored lakes. What the heck is going on there? And you see them transitioning from one color into another, and little branches coming off them, and blue turning into green. Brilliant looking colors. And then you see these deep, deep blues right in the middle of other, it's amazing. Now, these little rifts in here, you'd say, well, maybe they're just little valleys. Well, maybe they are, maybe not. I don't think they are. I believe those are part of this biology. And this is a huge digestive system. That's my claim. And there may be other functions going on in here because of the type of creature that this was. But let's examine the evidence we have here. Why are we seeing all this green here and this white here? What's going on with that? Why is that? There's certain areas of white, but just mostly green around. And when I say green, I'm talking green. And in the middle of this white, there's some of the most enormous, unbelievable green. Look at this. There's green areas in here where whatever flows into the center, it turns green as green can be. Look at this. Now this is right at the end of what spur poops out. And you say, poops out? What are you talking about? Well, I'm saying it's an anus. It's an anal. It's an anus right there. And it's way up there. It's 3,000 meters. 25,000, 2,600. It's about 3,000 meters at the top where spur goes out. So let's just follow it. Mount Spur is right up in this area. Right at 2,700, 2,790, 29, 3,000, 3,100, 3,200, 3,300. It's right in this area. All right, now, when it poops out of here, it runs down here. You see it? This is it right here. All right, so right up here, right around 3,000 meters up. And it all runs out of there and comes down, follow the flow. Comes down around here. Now, let's get right down onto it. It comes around and it meets up with whatever's coming down from here. And this is a very complex system. There's one coming in here, there's one coming down here, and spur is on this side. Being pushed to its own side, they all sort of keep their own way. Now, it comes down and around, and they stay sort of apart. You see them sort of like these bands? Now watch what happens down the end. They come down around here, and they still have their own looking like little bands. Look at that green. Now here's spur. And that's the poop. I'm telling you, spur is poop. You know, that's just what it is, I guess. And that's what it is. And it grows green. Look at the stuff growing green there. Now, some of these colors, it appears to be correct, these colors, exactly what I would expect. And this is from the poop side. So, Mount Spur poops. And then it mixes with the urine side, which is here. And that right there, you see those little two dots? You see that little colored thing here? That's what pinches it off so that it doesn't drip fluids when it was alive. And then they have a little gland, whether it's secreted in or whether it absorbed back, I don't know. But that's what happens in the, this is a cloaca. And this stuff comes down. That's the white stuff, the fluidy white stuff. And this would be the brown stuff in a bird poop. And they mix together, and they come right down here together, and it squirts right down, all the way down to Cook Inlet. And there's where it pours into Cook Inlet. And it has anal glands. It has all of the things of a avian or reptilian, whatever. And that is a cloaca. I just showed you this right here. I mean, you cannot dismiss this. It can't be dismissed. It's just not possible. You go, it's just accidental happen. No. When I show you all the other attributes here. Now, here's the key. Here's the real key. Everything up here is thawing out. The earth is absorbing energy. When it absorbs energy, it's just like leaving a refrigerator door open. And your stuff is going to rot. When it rots, it gets bigger gases. That hydrocarbons, just huge. I think I already talked to you about that. I get interrupted a couple times, and my memory isn't good when I go into this, because I just do it over and over and over. So if I went through that before, well, good. If I didn't, well, hydrocarbons come as things decay, and they rot. And that's what's going on. Now, here's the key, though. Everything out here is turning green because it's no longer frozen as it probably should be. However, spur up here is way up high, and it's very, very cold up there, and it's pretty solid. to speak of. But underneath, it's rotting. Is that going to be like a really plug on top and really take off? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing, underneath of it, it's rotting. And it is way up high. Whoops, I'm over here. It's way up high. And all this stuff is up high. And it's all, it looks to me like there must be going to be some serious pressure going on, because all of this is biology. And when you come up close and look at it, a biologist, look at this, they can't possibly miss what's going on here. I mean, you could say, oh, those are just hills and valleys. Well, you could, but you'd be wrong, because they are not. You got to get in and look at the chemistry. And then when you get in really to the structure, sometimes it's just awesome. Let me get a good couple shots. Hold on. All right, let's just look at what we got. Anytime you see up here like this, the white is up here. Of course, we all know about the abrupt transitions. You know where blood flows down and gets extremely green, where there's a lot of fertility, and you know how to read the signs of what is, the colors and stuff like this. This is not just runoff. There's something going on here, and this is a discharge of something from some biology, which is not right now starting to thaw out. These patterns are patterns of some kind of digestive system or something going on in there. All right, let's let it settle in here for a second. We'll see. Now, I am going to show you down at the other end of where the spur volcano discharges into the ocean, because there's extremely interesting chemistry down there and biology and anatomy. Now, that's all draining down, and this, I believe, is where the mice are, which means it's getting soft over here and melting, which would be the same thing, very around this area. And right there is spur. Right there is spur. And that's coming out of it. And here it is right up here. Straight up the top here. So, okay, we're going to start with Mount Spur. I'm quite familiar with that, and I'm going to show you the evidence. You take it for whatever you want to take it for. I'm not going to make any spectacular claims. If they are spectacular, they will present themselves as such. Okay, my friends, they're going basically hour by hour, keeping an eye on Mount Spur, and they're saying there's a 50% risk of eruption, but I don't think they understand what I understand. And what I understand is the temperature difference inside the Earth now is what's causing these things to decompose faster and faster, creating these eruptions. All right, here is these interstitium balls. Those are in the skin of whatever this creature was. I call it Scorbzilla. And that was in the skin, and they are in everybody's skin. It's just, those are the balls that anchor so your flesh can move around. The flesh is real weak and erodes instantaneously in watery areas, because it's a watery substance. These are different. These are literally made of little meatballs. They come out like little meatballs. And the moss is built in to the creature's body. It's in the blood. That's why every single ball. You see how many balls there are? Look at this. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Every one of these has got green on it because it's edible. And now it's thawing out, and these are growing on there. All right, when it was frozen, they didn't grow. Now that it's thawing out, they're growing. And this is right up near Mount Spur in that area too. This is up in Alaska too. So, and they have just said that we have biology built into us that is little plant life literally in our blood. And that is bacteria. Now this is like moss is basically like bacteria to this. It's plant life that was built into this creature's blood. It had to be. You can't have that many infected at one time with the same moss. It's just not going to happen. And the exact same thing happens in salt water, only they turn brown. They're still being eaten. They're these balls. All right, let's just start off with this. This is what I'm talking about for the balls. What do we see here? We got skin. In this case, it would be skin. Under the skin is all that floppy stuff, so your skin can move around and stretch and do so forth. However, it's got to come back to where it was anchored. That's where the ball comes in. Now, you've got little bags of fluids to plump your skin up. But they would lay flat if they didn't have these springs. You see these springs? They open the bag up, the bag comes flat, but they're springs, the brown ones. The balls are tough as hell. They just don't erode. They are locked in there. This goes away very quick. This is a little tougher, the brown, and the ball is very tough. And the ball is completely edible by this plant life. Now, what does it look like in a human being or a big creature? It's like this. You see how tiny this is? This is this before you blow it up. What do you see? This right here is above. It's just below the skin. It's like a membrane-ish area. But these are the balls. In us, that's like 1 micrometer. And these are tiny, tiny little buggers. And that's how many layers of skin and membrane you have surrounding this stuff. Now, what do you see in the desert? You see the same balls. Here they are right here. Above them would have been skin up here, and then this gooey stuff right above it. So you have the skin, you have some gooey stuff, and there's a thickness of them, and there's quite a depth of them. And they just erode down, and they just lay here. And all this rest of the stuff eroded away. So what did we end up with? We ended up with all these balls laying here, because they were originally in that skin. Now all the skin is washed away and the balls are laying here. Now what happens here? This is the same thing. The ocean has washed away, washed away, washed away, and these balls just drop down like these did. And they're sitting in their own mud, which is that wall. And those are being eaten by some other type of moss. They say, oh, those are stromatolites, they just started growing. No, they didn't. They are balls just like these that are edible. They're just little meatballs laying there, just getting eaten by some kind of moss. Only, they're in a salty soup. These were in, fresh water, I imagine. I don't know. But I do know it's made from this. There's virtually no doubt. If once you start, you open your eyes big enough. All right, what I want you to see is something that may or may not be well understood by geological survey. They don't really understand, I don't think, that we're talking about the whole Earth being biology. They're saying this is ductile, which means it's basically fluidish. And then they have a brittle cap around it. Now, I agree. And what elevation are we? The higher you get up, the more brittle the cap becomes. Now, because it's thawing out, and it is thawing out, the Earth is thawing, there's no question about it, tundra is thawing out. Down below, so we're here, normally that brittle cap would have gone quite a ways down. I believe the brittle cap is now being eroded under here. So, could you have a huge thing pop up, absolutely enormous? That's possible. It depends on how much pressure is underneath and how much, this stuff has melted. It's basically melted, frozen. Frozen is brittle. Melted is not brittle. And if you got a brittle piece way up high in the mountains, which spur is, way up there, 3,000 meters or so. As you come down, it starts to get warmer, and it's getting warmer quicker now below. Could it gush out the sides? Who knows? At this point, I'm looking at it and trying to think. They're showing earthquake clusters coming off the edge here. There's a lot to look at here, but the spur is, I think she's ready to go. I'm sorry, I got called away again, but I'm back, and I think I ended up showing you spur ends up coming down here into Cook Inlet. Now, this is where it just drains off. So let's go in and look at this. Let me get it settled in. Hold on a second. Okay, most people have pets, or a lot of people do, and a lot of dogs have problems with abscessed anal glands, which they get plugged up. And this is basically it. That's the rectum and the anus, and you have external anal sphincter, things to squeeze to clear out the ducts, the anal sacs. Well, once they get plugged up, they abscess, and they get kind of nasty. And my dog has that problem. One side, then we have to take him to the vet because he goes insane. He's just shoo. Anyway, let me show you. I showed you the Persian Gulf. Now, don't forget what you're seeing. Look at this. You want to see the Persian Gulf? Hold on. Okay, you just saw the anal abscess, and here's one right here. It's called the Persian Gulf. This is the abscess side. This is the nice clear side coming out. That's the cloaca right there. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers runs down into this cloaca, I believe. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And this is what they just showed, that anal sphincter gland. And this one's all plugged up. See the plug? Let's look right out here close. You see how it's all plugged up in here? It's not supposed to be plugged up, and that's making this fester all up in here. And I mean, it's nasty. You look at it on Google Earth and it's bad. This one here is just nice and clean and dumps right out. Perfect. No plug. This is all plugged up. So that is an infected anal gland, and it's bad. Now, I don't know what it does to the, stuff around here, the water and all that. I have no idea, but I can tell you what, it's an infected anal gland. And here's spur. This is where spur comes out to the very end and dumps into Cook Inlet. Now, where do you see this? I've shown this a number of times. It's just so spectacular, people can't stop to think. All right, this is all the cloacal fluids coming out and dumping into the Gulf. Now, this, I believe, is one of these glands. And this is the other on both sides. All right, and it works some kind of fluid action going on here with this. And this side does as well. And then out it goes. That's how an anal gland works. Right at the very tip, you have a secretion or an absorption. And that's right there. Now there's something going on over here. What? I don't know. But I can tell you what, if you follow this down, you'll see this is not, that's not like some kind of underwater runoff. You see that? That's coming right out of the anal discharge. That's biological. Let's just cut to the chase. It's biological, and so is all this stuff. Again, some kind of secretion going on here. Some kind of biological interaction. All right, and as you come down, you can see the membrane here, all along here. These are trees knocked over, it looks like. What this is, it was just washed up and washed away, I don't know. Let me tell you what, this is all membrane area down here. Now watch this. This is the nightmarish, I don't know what's going on here. This is like a street. It almost looks like a street. Look at this. This under here looks like the underlayment of, you know, like skin tissue and everything is eroded away and it's underneath. And what this is, I look at that. What the heck is going on? If you have an answer for that, I'd like to know what it is, other than biology. Look at that. I mean, look at that. That is just spectacularly perfect. And it goes all the way in. And it's still got the same kind of crazy looking, I don't know, I guess you'd call them blood vessels, I don't know. Look at that. I mean, who can explain this? Let me put it this way. Nobody built this. I have seen things that first when I saw them, I said, whoa, I get blah, blah, blah. Well, then I realized, during the world wars, they built things in the desert and places like that you never expect. And it's just, now they're just abandoned. They're there, and you say, wow, look at that, what happened? Well, this is not one of those. This is not one of those. This, my friends, and what this is, it looks like a perfectly paved highway. And it just keeps going and going. It's getting a little smaller and smaller as it goes back, but it just keeps going back and back and back until it gets back to some more heavy-duty chemistry. You see this up here? Look at this. That's pretty serious looking something. It's like weaving back and forth through there. And this will eventually come out of something up here that's an organ. If we followed it back, somewhere up in here there's going to be an organ that's coming from. And I think we're getting into it right now. You got to follow this here. It takes a while to settle in. In some places it doesn't settle in good. It's coming around. She's coming around the corner. So it just looks like a river at this point. Because we're getting more and more into the cold area where it's not like it was down below. It looks to me like we're in the frozen reaches up here. Because we're not far off the ground. So this is frozen. If we come down here from all that frozen stuff, and we just keep coming down, 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 down. Now it's starting to warm up. And you see a lot more, I would say, green. Still got a frozen river. And it still keeps coming down. By the time it gets down here, it's doing something crazy. Now, obviously, this is the coloration of Google Earth. They're overlaying this stuff. And, you know, this could have been unfrozen up here before. I don't know. You know what? I know what they did. I know what they did. This shot was taken during the winter time, and this was in the summer. And they overlaid them like that. Now it's starting to make sense. Because I see this every now and then. I wonder what the hell's going on. Just like this. That's when it was frozen. So they put that panel on top. Now it's starting to make sense. So in the summertime, it's like this. Wow, you learn something every day. And it's coming down here, and that is some strange looking biological stuff to me. You know, they say, oh, there's a beach here and a beach there. Well, maybe. Somebody must have put a dam in there at one time, or it just plugged up. I wonder if these things are where they plug up and drain around. You know, that's what it looks like to me now that I'm looking at it. Well, that spot looks like it. That could actually be a natural thing. The lightest water goes around the outside, and yeah, that I could see where that could happen. I mean, it's still biology. It's still draining some kind of fluids out of here like crazy. Look at this stuff. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's not just one of these. It's not just one. There's a lot of them. There's another one over here. Look at that stuff. What the hell's going on there? I don't know. I could look at this stuff forever. Look at that. What the hell is going on there? That's some kind of an organ. And that's the membrane right there. I mean, it just doesn't get any clearer than this. And it's thawing out, and as it does, it's giving off tons of hydrocarbons, which is methane gases. And the more that does, the warmer the Earth gets. The warmer the Earth gets, the more this warms up. It feeds on itself. Look at the kind of things that are on this Earth. Absolutely stunning stuff. Anyway, I think I've made my case once again. This is biology. And biology, when it warms up, it rots. And when it rots, it expands. And when it expands, if it's confined, it explodes. That's the nature of spontaneous combustion. All right, my friends, I guess we'll just have to see what happens, but I think we need a new understanding of what we're looking at, especially when it involves people's lives. I mean, there's a lot of, wow, that's crazy. You found all these crazy things, you know. That's not going to affect somebody's life specifically. But if you don't know what you're living on, and you're living right next to something that's ready to explode, and I'm telling you, this stuff, when they start seeing different colors all being emitted and everything, something's going on. Now, I don't say it's going to be explosive, but you can see it involves all these different colors. And the red is the blood. So when they see, a lot of them now have been turning from yellows to greens and even gray, slate gray. And all that stuff is happening in Mount Spur. All those different colors and things are showing up. Hold on a second. All right, you see this? Alaska Volcano Observatory. Here's the colors that are coming out of there. All right, Summit Crater at Mount Spur, which is way up at the top, a partially ice-covered crater lake on December 18th. That's just a couple of months ago, 2024. Yellow sulfur precipitates are visibly floating on the surface. Photo taken during a gas survey. They're looking into this carefully. All right, when you see that, when you see colors like this just all of a sudden showing up, that is biology on the move. And I showed you all those little lakes. They are biological little secretors or absorbers of something. That's how biology works in your body. You got all these different colors that are because of transition metals primarily mixing with other caustic type of things, and then they carry them through your body. That's what transition metals do, and that's why they have all these different colors. All right, I showed you all the different colors of the lakes and all that stuff, and when you see them starting to move, you know that something is moving. They're either being squirted into this rectum to get ready to poop, or something's broken in there and the secretions are coming in where they're not supposed to be. Now, there's been a lot of unrest under the earth. There's all kinds of tremors going on everywhere. People are dead. Well, I showed you that graph. It goes right up like this. They say, oh, that's just because people now are realizing we got better equipment to see. Well, yes, maybe that's true. But they're going up like crazy, and there's Mount Spur. All of these different volcanoes are seeing increased activity. We're seeing enormous amounts of increase in methane gases. That's decay of biological material. There's just no other way to look at it. And when you look up in Alaska, and all of that, well, even here, it's just everywhere. It's everywhere. And you see these things growing. They're everywhere. The balls. And this is where the summit, and they're looking over here. This is Spur. I don't know. We're just going to have to see what happens. I don't see any way out of this because of warming up. It's just, I can't see any way to... These are not going to go off at some point. Now, I don't know if it's going to be this week, next week, a month, 2 months, a year, or something's going to happen, and I'm not predicting. But the warmer the Earth gets, and there is no turning away from it now. You can't stop it. It's really because the increase in the atmosphere was scrubbing very hard through space, and it's warming up the Earth. So we end up getting scrubbed. And the more we burn, the more it scrubs. The bigger it gets, the more it scrubs. The more it scrubs, the hotter it gets. It's just, it feeds on itself. And right now the Earth is warming up. The tundras are dropping, all these sinkholes all over the Earth. I've been watching this. I did reports on sinkholes back in 2014 when the Russians had their, well, they actually had an explosion. They had an exploding sinkhole. And the reason for that was they were dragging a lot of oil and gas out of this particular area, and the tundra was just sinking. And it was a huge void, and it took in all of that gas and just popped like a cork out of there. It didn't ignite. It just popped right out because the gas was so expansive underneath. And that's what's going up in the atmosphere right now. It's absolutely enormous amounts of greenhouse gases. It's not the carbon dioxide specifically. I mean, obviously that's one of the main sources, but now it's the hydrocarbons. Okay, we know that rotting food or meat and all that stuff causes hydrocarbons, the CH4s and so forth. Now, let's see what it says. See, methane, CH4. Now, hold on one second. Is the major source of greenhouse gases carbon dioxide or methane gases? All right, so both carbon dioxide and methane are significant greenhouses, but they have different sources, impacts, and roles in the climate. All right, so carbon dioxide is from the burning of fossil, and it's just very expansive, hugely expansive. And methane is from agriculture, livestock. They say it's all from cattle farts. Methane through digestion. No, it's rotting creatures that make up the earth. Landfills, organic waste decomposes in landfills. Without oxygen, methane is released. That's the stuff that's buried. Without oxygen, you use huge amounts. Fossil fuels, yes, which is the creatures that are buried. Wetlands, yes. Methane is much more potent than CO2. It's huge. And there's no way you can stop it. It's the earth. The warmer it gets, the more it's going to go. Okay, if I haven't convinced you yet, I'm never gonna, and I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to show you what's here. Now, this is quite obvious. The sphincter muscles that pinch together, I guess you call them sphincter muscles, and they pinch together to stop the flow of fluids from this cloaca. And this is another one of these glands. Now, it is absorbing? I believe it is. I don't think it's secreting upwards. I think it's absorbing, and maybe it's secreting downwards. I don't know. But there's some kind of a different chemistry going on right here. So maybe it's secreting, I don't know. But it is obviously the fluid part, and this spur is the poop part. And this looks like maybe these are each time it poops. And again, they overlay these, so sometimes you get this in the cold areas. I finally figured that out. It always bothered me why sometimes they got color, sometimes they don't. Well, in the wintertime, they don't have any color to speak of, and they overlay them and so forth. But this, again, it's up to you to look at this if you want. But I believe that's the anal gland here, that's the anal gland for this side, and I don't think either one of them is plugged up. Although I don't know. It's an interesting time to be alive, but it's kind of scary. And as everybody knows, God said he wouldn't flood the earth again. He said he'd take it out by fire. All I can say is that wasn't my words. I'm just saying what I had heard. Look at the color of this stuff. Now again, this is, I don't know, that's an overlay. Anyway, all I can say is take the information for what it's worth. I just think it's better to start to think about things than not think about it. Otherwise, maybe ignorance is bliss, and it is. A lot of people, well, I can't do anything about it, forget about it. Well, I think this leads to the fact that the things that were written in these ancient texts were not silly. They were not silly at all. And it's not just one ancient text, not just like the Bible or something, no. Here's Quetzalcoatl. I've shown that 1,000,000 times too. There's Quetzalcoatl right there. There's his throat, comes up around all the way up. All the way up the East Coast. There's his feathers right up here. They're called the Green Mountains. Well, green comes from feather meal. They take feathers and grind them up and use it for plant food. Those are feathers. And geologists say, oh, no, those are just ripple this and that, ripple that, and da. No. Those are feathers, my friends. And they whip around here, and it follows all the way up. There's his shoulder. All the way up the East Coast. Here's his headdress. There's his beards. One here, one there. And he's spitting out some noxious stuff into the Gulf. Remember the colors? And there's his headdress right there. That's why it's very green. And there's his head has a different, must have been like skin or something. The rest was feathers. And now, you've seen Typhon, you know about that. You've seen all these other giants. They're all over the earth. And that's what it said in the ancient text. So I'm going with the ancient text right now. And, Jesus came here to warn us. Say, this stuff is real. And you better do what I say and come my way or you're in trouble. And it is the entire world. It's not just here or there. Look at this stuff. Everywhere is biology. Coming through space is biology too. Bennu, they just came back with a chunk of it. It's a heart. And Psyche up there is another heart, 140 miles wide. You see this stuff? That is biology. Just absolutely no question about it. There's, those are different algae and fungi and this and that. Well, yes, bacteria is the source of these enzymes. They're different bacteria. There's no question about that. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I guess you're just going to have to take it for whatever it is. I'm going to just keep doing my videos the way I do them. Well, live life with what we got. All you can do. But I think we should all know and start studying what this is all about, if it makes sense, or I'm just an idiot spouting out silly things, which that's basically what most people think. So you have to think for yourself. I'm thinking for myself. All right, thank you. I love you all. We got something that we just should be investigating, I think. So that's what I'm going to do. Thank you. Bye.